Hey, how's it going? It's Fat Daddy Sambo with those nerdy metal guys, and it's time for another lunch break album review. This is where we take a new release, give it a few listens, do some research on the artist, and then bring you the results. And today's album, I have to say, is not a new release. This album is almost a year old, having come out November 9th of 2018, but definitely is timely, at least for me. This is Lacuna Coil's The 119 show live in London. And this was the album chosen for today, as I will be seeing Lacuna Coil in concert tonight. They've come with All That Remains, Tooth Grinder, and Bad Omens to play at the Masquerade in Atlanta. And this is a fantastic album. This album basically was the kickoff for their 20th anniversary tour for the band. The band totally has existed in one form or another since 1994, but really gelled and started becoming more of a professional act in about 98. So first album, of course, first full album was In a Reverie. It came out in 1999. Leading up over the years, you had Karma Code and Comalies, Shallow Life, Dark Adrenaline, Delirium, and now the 119 show. And as we know, there's yet another album that is currently in the works that hopefully will be out. I believe we're looking at October 7th for the next album. So that should be very exciting. The current lineup that we're seeing is, as always, Andrea Ferrero and Christina Scabia fronting the band. Andrea with his fantastic male vocals, getting those wonderful growls in, very dirty sound, and then Christina, almost the angel, in opposite of his devil, with her very clear and piercing vocals. For guitar, we have Diego Cavalti and Marco Zalati on bass and keys. There had been a drum change. The current drum change is Richard Mize, and I'm sorry, I did not capture the name of the previous drummer, who unfortunately had been with the band for quite some time, but had made a decision to leave apparently earlier this year. But they were able to get a good replacement with Richard Mize. The album starts off with crowd noise. It's a standard live album in many respects. And it's kind of funny, it got me thinking about how live albums have changed over the years. If we think back to live albums from the 70s, those live albums that we look at as our classic albums, albums like The Song Remains the Same, Kiss Alive 1 and 2, Frampton Comes Alive. These have Some Enchanted Evening by Blue Oyster Cult. Those albums are live almost in name only. One of my favorite stories about a live album is Unleashed in the East. One of my all-time favorite Judas Priest albums is billed as live, but the vocals on it are far from it. The vocals were re-recorded in what Rob Halford has said, in as live of a setting as possible. This album, you definitely hear the imperfections enough in it, in each song, to know that this is the real deal. This is them live in front of this London audience. This is a fantastic album. This is a long album. If this were on vinyl, this would easily be a double vinyl and probably a triple vinyl. It has that many songs. It really touches the entire spectrum and the entire catalog for Lacuna Coil from beginning to end. They touch on In a Reverie, Karma Code, Comalies, Dark Adrenaline, Shallow Life, Delirium. They really hit it all, and they do a very good job with it. For the most part, this is a very upbeat album, and for me it's hard to pick a favorite on it. I almost have to simply go with nostalgia and reach for those songs like Heaven's a Lie or Our Truth, those songs that reached out to me at the very beginning of my listening to Lacuna Coil, which I've been a fan since 2009, the first time I saw them, and I saw them with All That Remains at the Masquerade in Atlanta at that time. That doesn't mean that the other tracks are lacking. What is lacking are some of my favorites. My personal favorite by the band is Spellbound. Um, you know, if I had to look at other songs, it touches on Dark Adrenaline, but you know, Tripping the Darkness is not on there, and that would be probably my favorite, or my second favorite Lacuna Coil song. So if on this particular album, looking at a favorite, again, I'm going to go with Our Truth or Heaven's a Lie, which is almost the easy way out, but those are the ones that reach out to me. Not, you know, and again, the rendition of Blood, Tears, and Dust on this, which is found on the Delirium album, is absolutely fantastic. Same thing with The House of Shame, which is also found on the Delirium album. It's a fantastic live rendition. The rest of the album, they do a great job with it. They kind of slow down towards the end. There's 2 songs where it's simply Christina and piano, and the live nature of the album really comes forth almost a little too much. Christina Scabia has such a beautiful voice, and she is such a powerful presence live. Unfortunately, on this album, there were moments where it was a little too nasal, it was a little too live for me. I wish that they could have gone back and spot checked it with her in the studio and covered it just to make it sound not as glaring. They did end it with a song off Broken Crown Halo, Nothing Stands in Our Way, which is fantastic, and what a great battle cry to move forward into their career. So definitely I recommend this. It's the 119 show live in London. If you're new to Lacuna Coil, it's a great starting place, again, because it touches on so much of their catalog. If you're a fan of live albums, it's live. Man, is it live. If you're not a fan of live albums, it's better than a lot that I've heard. It's not as polished as the albums from the 70s that we described. It's not as raw as, you know, some of the Unplugged albums maybe, you know, or as Unblackened was, you know, a few years ago from BLS. This was a nice mix. So look for, if you would take a look in the description for this video, and there will be a link so that you can listen to this album and make your own decisions on it. Look for a review of the show from Maddie D and I later on. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic night. And if you're in the Atlanta area, definitely Masquerade is the place to be tonight. Lacuna Coil, All That Remains, Tooth Grinder, and Bad Omens. Man, fantastic metal. So I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you for your time and enjoy.